In this session, we review the advantages of the identity collector over AD query, and we understand why identity collector is the more best practices solution to integrate into Active Directory. So let's understand a main disadvantage of AD query. More details about AD query can be found in SK 6031. If we are reviewing the way that Active Directory query is working compared to the identity collector, we need to focus on the basic functionality that the security gateway is subscribing to the WMI service running on the Active Directory server. By enabling this flag, you enable the WMI service subscription. The user ID that the gateway uses to run the WMI query is based on the username that you specify inside the object for the LDAP server properties. Note that in many cases, when you run the Identity Awareness Wizard to enable Active Directory query, on the LDAP account unit, you even enable write data to the server. So you have this user ID, and sometimes you are even allowed to write server to the data. The issue is that the user for AD query is part of the domain administrative users. So this user ID is a domain admin, and imagine the security implications if you are even able to write data to the server. So this is the main reason why AD query is an identity source not recommended anymore in these days. The LDAP search command that you see here is used against the Active Directory logon server. I'm using plain LDAP here in my lab. Usually you would like to use TLS protected LDAP. I enter the Active Directory search using another user. We look at this user later. This is the password that I'm giving to allow this user to log on, and then I'm searching the Active Directory domain, and I'm searching for information about the user AD query. Then I get the response, and I get, among other information, even that the user is part of this group. So why would we need the identity collector? If you want to learn more details about it, please consult the SK 108-234. But in essence, it's about the rights and the privileges that are required to integrate using the identity collector. The identity collector is using only an event log reader privilege to read events from the Microsoft Event Log API. It is then forwarding login events to the PDP, and the PDP will run the LDAP query only using a domain user. So you are working with less privileges compared to the AD query. The generation of the identity session is working as before, and then the identity session is shared with the PEP instance. But the main difference is really that using the identity collector, you can adhere to least privileges security best practices when integrating into on-premises Active Directories. So to review, the identity collector is subscribing to the Active Directory service for event logs, and the security gateway will use the credentials configured on the LDAP account unit to run the group membership query.